welcome to Frankly Speaking with Frank Portinari, the podcast that gains access to real and inspiring people. Today, I'd like to welcome our guest, Wolfy Foxlow. I'll read his CV for you. He's an actor, he's a model, he's a comedian, he's an entertainer, he's a public speaker, and he's a very passionate fan of the band The Who. If that CV had got any longer, we'd have had about 2 podcasts. Anyway, welcome today, Wolfy. I'm just going to make a few announcements. First of all, I'd like to welcome our new sponsor, Casual Minds, and they very kindly sent me a shirt, and I have to say it's very, very good quality. It feels really nice to wear. So thank you, the chaps at Casual Minds. Casual Minds are basically designers and distributors of quality casual clothing. We'll be working closely with them to support a new initiative called Casual Minds Matter. And the thinking behind that is to help men who find it difficult to speak about their mental health problems. And their slogan is checking in on male mental health. And we hope to support that as much as possible. We want to thank all our subscribers. We'd clearly like some more subscribers if that's possible. Let's get the channel to grow. Let's encourage more people to come and tell their real and inspiring stories. We clearly want to keep up to date with previous guests and their campaigns, their stories. We also want to remind people that we're, supporters of the Alzheimer's Society, a fantastic organisation that helps both victims and their families. A wonderful organisation. We continue to support Change Your Life, Put Down Your Knife, anti-knife campaign. Must remember to thank Mac the Hat Media. That's Gary at Mac the Hat Media. But let's get down to business and let's get talking to our good friend, Wolfy Foxlow. Wolfy, welcome to Frankly Speaking.
Pleasure to be here, Frank. Thanks for having me on board.
Now listen, I'll declare an interest. Myself and Walt, we're old friends. We both go on Mickey Goldtooth's Gangster Tour bus, otherwise known as the Naughty Bus. And I have to say that the bit about Wolfy being an entertainer is very, very appropriate. And apart from that, he helps serve the drinks as well. So I should have put barman as well on his CV. But Wolfy, as I say, mate, it's lovely to see you. It really is genuinely nice to see you. And we'll start off and find out a little bit about your background. I know you're a North London boy. Whereabouts in North London did you grow up?
Yeah, I was born in the front room of 32 Berwick Road, which is Wood Green, so just on the outskirts of Tottenham, really. So I say to people that I'm a Tottenham boy because most people outside the UK have never heard of Wood Green, but everyone's heard of Tottenham, right? As well as we know, Frank, as well as you know.
Yeah, me and Gary are both sufferers, don't worry.
There we go then. So yeah, I was born there in the front room, 1963, and I've been alive ever since.
Right, that's good of you.
So yeah, but I don't.
What were your siblings? Do you have sisters? Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I've got 2 brothers, 1 sister, half brother, and a few more dotted about I don't know about. My old man was a bit of a player, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay. All right. Have you inherited that at all?
I might have done. I'm not saying anything.
All right. At this point, we'll say your private life's your own. But you have to tell us some things, though. So what about your early life? What was you like at school, Wolfy?
What was I like at school? Well, do you know what? I mean, I was quite good at school, to be honest with you. I was in one of the top classes. I was keen to learn. I always had that rebellious streak inside me. I've always been a bit of a joker and a bit of a wind-up merchant. And I've always had an eye for ladies, I suppose. We played kiss chase and all that. And, if I was doing chased by a big fat ugly one, I'd run like the clappers. If I was being chased by a pretty one, I'd pretend to slip up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I was quite good at school. I mean, in the early years, but then my life went a little bit wonky. You know, was brought up by au pair girls, you know, living nannies, if you like. And the old man took a fancy to one of them, and it was a messy divorce thing, and it all went a bit wonky. And then, you know, it affected my studies at school. So, you know, that's when I started to play truant and sort of, you know, couldn't give a fuck attitude, really, Frank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in general, I quite like school. It was all right, man. I was quite good at it.
Did you leave with any qualifications or?
Well, I left with, I wanted to do my A levels, but a few things got in the way of that. So I just left with like CSE, GSEs and that. I went into O level, towards O level grade, but then I just basically fucked it all up. I just wanted to be a rock star, do you know what I mean? And I should have paid more attention, but I didn't.
So what were your, I mean, assuming you had any, what were your aspirations career-wise in Wolfy?
Well, I mean, as a kid, I always wanted to be a train driver. I mean, most kids want to be like something like that, don't they? Well, I actually qualified as a train driver, so I did actually achieve my ultimate goal.
All right.
You know, so I was very lucky in that sense. But you know, I was a bit too young for it, and I ended up sort of jacking that in and went to pursue other careers. You know, I mean, I suppose first and foremost, I wanted to be an actor. I was good at drama school. And then the thing is, the careers officer, she seemed to overlook that. You know, I said to her, I want to be an actor. Oh, it's a hard job to get in being an acting in the acting game, which is true. It's a cutthroat business. We all know that. But the thing is, she sort of swayed me away from that, where in fact she should have bloody encouraged me, you know.
Yeah.
So she didn't see anything there for me and just put me in line for the general dog's body's work, really. So she wasn't bloody helpful at all. She's a fucking disaster, if you ask me. You know what I mean?
Any long-term relationships?
What with women or mates, or what do you mean, Frank?
Well, women, yeah. Probably, yeah, women, yeah. Any long-term, you get engaged to when you ever marry anyone?
No, yeah, I'm married. I got married. I met a bird who was 10 years younger than me. She was into the mod thing, and she got in touch with a mate of mine, Tony Class. He's a famous mod DJ, and he introduced her to me because I was number one of a scooter club, the Mad Modern Englishman, and she quite liked that. She was 10 years younger, good-looking bird, and yeah, so we sort of knew her for 5 years, got married, knew her and was married for 10 years, and then she couldn't handle it, and she fucked off. You know what I mean? So no, it was.
Did you mean, I think you meant separated, didn't you?
Yeah, separated. Yeah, put it in layman's terms, Frank. Yeah.
Or as you put it, fucked off.
Yeah, fucked off.
So when did the because obviously you're synonymous with the mod scene and scooters and so on. When was your attention drawn to the mod scene?
Right, so that would have been early 1979. That was just before Quadrophenia came out. I started to get warmed towards that because I was introduced to the Who by a friend in the kids' home that I was in, and he said, you know, just don't listen to that shit. Listen to this, and he put the Who on, and so from that moment onwards, I was like, wow, these guys are fucking amazing. And then I looked at in the history of them and their portfolios and realised they're connected to the 60s mod thing. So I thought that was it. I had to become a mod, really. So mod before quad, if you like, you know what I mean? So 79, yeah.
What if you don't mind me asking, what was it like in the home? What brought that about, you being in the home?
I don't mind you asking, mate. Well, what it is, because like I said before, it was a messy divorce, and the old man married one of the au pair girls. You know, my brother ran away from home. I missed my brother. I ran away from home. Was getting in trouble with the old bill. Just petty stuff, really. A little bit of petty theft and that. Nothing heavy. It was only kids, you know what I mean? And I just resented the old man for upsetting my mum that much, you know. So they got a divorce, and I didn't want to be at home with his new girlfriend. I didn't like her one fucking bit. So that was it. I was classed as an uncontrollable child, if you like. And they put me into an assessment centre at first. And they had all the psychiatrists and psychologists poking around in my brain. So this was probably 76, 77, something like that, maybe a bit earlier. And it was just, I was become even more resentful and rebellious against authority. So I played up a little bit more. You know, there was riots going on in the assessment centre. We barricaded ourselves in, smashed stuff up. It was just asking for trouble, really. But we wasn't treated like kids. We was treated like criminals. And basically, we had deep set problems that was emotional and family problems. We weren't out and out nuts. You know what I mean? But they treated us like we was fucking lunatics. You know.
Yeah.
So that didn't go down too well. And then I went from one assessment centre to another. And then they said, "What do you want to do? Do you want to go back and live with the old man?" I went, "Absolutely not. No." So they carted me off to a community home in St Albans, and I signed up for a full care order till I was 18. So once in that system, in the community home, then things started to. I was a lot happier there. There were the residential social workers are like your mates. It was very relaxed and a calm atmosphere, and I really enjoyed it there. You know what I mean? We had a dog, a cat.
It's good.
Yeah, it was good. We had a donkey in the garden. You know, it was just mental. We could have loads of friends around. It was nice and relaxed. So I've got happy memories from.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I had a bit of an experience in a home for a short while. Myself and sister, and it was a horrible place. A horrible place.
Where was that, Frank?
You had to call the women aunties. They had to call aunties, and I think I was about 10. My sister was about 3. And one particular morning, they sent me off to a primary school somewhere. And all she wanted to do was say goodbye, you know, to her big brother, and they wouldn't let me do it. Of course, she was screaming the place down, and I mean, we weren't there long. I mean, it weren't years, you know what I mean? But yeah, so it still sticks in the back of the mind. It's definitely there, and to this day, if I pass it, it freaks me out. Absolutely freaks me out. You know.
Well, it would do, Frank, because them sort of things stay with you for life. Do you know what I mean? And, and then, you know, if that was today, I mean, that was back in the 70s, right, Frank? Was it, or the 60s or 70s?
Yeah, it was in the 70s. Yeah.
So back then,
60s. No, it was the 60s. I'll come to think, yeah, it was the 60s.
Late 60s, I would have thought. Different times, then. See? And if that happened today, these people would be held accountable under the Child Court.
Exactly. No. It was one I remember one poor little sod there. We used to one day he was at the table, and we was all having tea, and he said, "Please, can I have some more bread and butter, please?" Because he said please twice, they wouldn't let him have it. He was just a nervous kid, you know. Like it was a stutter to him. He said please at the beginning and please at the end. And the wicked buggers wouldn't let him have it. They wouldn't let him have this bread and butter, like, you know. But like you say, hopefully times have changed a bit more now. You know, people are more accountable, aren't they? Yeah. So you left there at 18, you say?
Yeah, I had a full care order until I was 18. Yeah.
Yeah. What sort of employment did you have at 18 then? Was that the train thing? Was that the?
Well, yeah, that was when I was a train driver. See, but the thing is, Frank, what happened was, because I had a full care order, and because I got a job at 16 and a half on British Rail, my shifts all over the place. I was doing night works, early work, time work, and everything else, and I was waking the other kids up. Not only that, it was an inconvenience to the residential social workers because they had to get up extra early or put extra staff on to make sure that I was all right to leave. So then I'd become a bit of a liability for them. And they said, "Well, you can leave now if you want." And basically, what they'd done, and I thought, fucking great, I don't have to be here till I'm 18, because I was always bunking off down to the pub anyway, even at 16, you know. So I thought that was great. So they released me at 16 and a half, nearly 17. I was 17. So I got about a year off. And the thing is, I thought, well, I don't know where to go. And they went, "Oh, we'll find you a place." And they put me in this little tiny room, which belonged to a Kiwi couple that was friends of one of the residential social workers. So they put me there just to basically get me out of the way, really. There was no aftercare or anything like that. There's no follow-ups to see if I'm doing all right. They just fucked me off, which was bang out of order if you think about it.
Was there music you was interested in before you discovered the Who? What sort of music did you like before that?
Right. Okay. Well, see, my brother Shane, the eldest brother, he's a big Elvis fan. So basically, and the old man, he was a Ted back in the 50s. So it was inevitable that I sort of went down that path. So I become an Elvis fan. Then I fucked Elvis off and I discovered the Who. But now I'm back. I love Elvis anyway. So I was into the rock and roll thing, but more so, I suppose, chart-wise, what was about at that time. I was into like, I mean, don't laugh. I thought Gary Glitter was the bollocks of the Glitter Band. You know what I mean? But that was the thing, and all that sort of glam rock type thing. Slade, a bit of T-Rex. You know what I mean?
Sweet was another one. When they was into all the old glam rock.
Yeah. So I was sort of into that, really, you know, and punk. Yeah. I like the punk thing as well. So I was into the Sex Pistols, the Buzzcocks, you know, that sort of thing before the mod thing came along. Yeah.
Did you ever get along to the Music Machine, Wolfie?
The Music Machine.
Yeah.
Was that in Camden?
Yeah, it was the Music Machine before it was the Camden Palace.
Yes. Now, Frank, used to go to Camden Palace. Well, so the Music Machine might have been a little bit before my time.
Yeah. All right.
I was still living in Hertfordshire in the kids' home, and
all right. Yeah.
Up until I was 17, so I didn't move back to London until I was about 18. And I think by that time it might have changed to Camden Palace. But yes, I did used to go there, and I'm sure I got chased down the road by Lennon McLean once.
Yeah, you didn't argue with him, did you?
Man, fuck that. I'm sure it was him. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he worked on the door there long enough. It probably was him. Wouldn't be at all surprised. Yeah, I see some great bands there. They're of all different music genres, like, you know, because they used to give you free tickets away. If you paid on a Friday night, Saturday night, probably a Sunday, but the rest of the week they'd be handing out the free tickets. So it might be Ted night one night, Soul night another night, you know, Ted's another night, and all the opposing groups all used to wait for each other outside. Yeah, we was just the local urban, so we didn't really care who we had to tear up. It didn't really matter, to be honest, you know. But yeah, great venue. I mean, it's Coco's now, isn't it? It's called Coco's now. Yeah.
When I used to go there, Frank, I used to just go on a Saturday because by that time I was living back in Tottenham. So I used to go there on a Saturday night, and it'd just be like a rave night or like just like a disco thing. You know what I mean? So, but I never see any live bands there. The live bands that I used to hang about with, or that I used to go to, were like Sir George Robey, Finchley Park, Young Bass. That's all gone now.
Yeah.
Then sort of places, you know, Electric Ballroom, Camden Palace, Dublin Castle, sort of them sort of places I used to hang out with. But mostly it'd be the mod clubs that I'd go to, which would be scattered all over London. We go all over London to see it.
Yeah. What age were you when you got your first scooter?
See, I was quite late actually. I mean, the first scooter I got, I think I was 17 or 18, which is late really, because most of the people that I knew, they had scooters at 14 and 15. No tax, no insurance, just buzzing around. You know what I mean? No one really gives a fuck, you know what I mean? So around about 18, I suppose, my first scooter. Mirrors and lights and all that, you know. No MOT, no insurance, fuck that. What's all that about? I couldn't be asked.
And did you go down the coast? Did you do your runs down to the coast?
Yeah, we used to go down the coast. I remember, oh blimey, the first time I went to Brighton, I got the dates muddled up. I'd only just moved back to London, so I was only about 17, and I didn't meet any mods as such in London that became my little firm. So I went down to the South End with a mate of mine. I had some Dr. Martin boots on, two-tone suit. I know Dr. Martin weren't very mod, but that's what I had on. We went down by train. As we got off the train, loads of old Bill there, loads of skinheads, loads of mods, and I thought, oh, God, just sense trouble. Old Bill pulled me aside and made me take my shoelaces out my boots, right? I thought, what the fuck? So now I'm flopping all over the place as I'm walking, trying to look like Mr. Cool, and all my boots are flopping all over the place. And the thing is, the skinheads was up to that. They knew what was going on, so they always carried a spare pair in their pocket. They got around the corner and laced them back up again. But me, like a numpty, I was anyway, all kicked off. I got into a fight down there because I looked like a mod, but I had Dr. Martens on it. It was just so aggressive. But after that first initiation ceremony, if you like, then I got involved with my little mod gang, and we all had scooters, and we used to sod off to Brighton, Margate, Clacton, and all these places, and get up to no good like like teenagers should. You know what I mean, Frank?
Yeah. Well, I'll confess it because I've previously interviewed the Magic Mod, Ben Taylor, and I'll confess to him if I'd have been around in the '60s as a teenager, I'd have probably been a rocker, if I'm honest.
No, Frank, I don't remember.
Sorry, mate. I'd have probably been a rocker. Saying that, listen, I still like mod music, and I still like the smartness of the clothes. But when I was a teenager, as you say, being a rebel, you know, they just always looked more rebellious, if you like. So when I was a young teenager, if I did go to Southend or Clacton, and they had their motorbikes, they just seemed that bit more. Nobody liked them. Do you know what I mean? And, that kind of suited me because I didn't want to necessarily be liked. You know. So but I never did get a motorbike, so it doesn't matter. Blind bit of difference.
No.
So I got an Oyster card. That's about it. But I say, as I say, I like the. Clearly, the mod's very smart, you know, very clean cut, very smart.
Yeah. And I think that's what it was. I mean, I've said in other interviews that if it worked for the mod thing, if that didn't exist, I would have been a punk because I
can see that. Yeah, I can see you being a punk, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I just love that outrageous look. I mean, on my 40th birthday, I used to host a big scooter rally at Canberra Sands by Chelmsford Scooter Club, Robin Quartermain, and I used to be the DJ and the host for it. And on my 40th birthday, I thought I'd go a little bit different, and I dressed up as Johnny Rotten. I had the swastika on there, and you know what I mean, the big painted swastika on the shirt. All my yellow hair was spiked up, and they put on Sex Pistols, and I got up on stage, and for that 3 or 4 minutes, I thought I was Johnny Rotten. I had the pint glass, and people were giving me beer on stage to throw it over them. So I was spitting beer all over, I was chucking beer at them. It was fucking great. So that was just like my 5 minutes of being a punk. I loved it.
I think I can speak on behalf of Gary from McNamara Media. You would not have had us throwing beer at you.
You would have made sure you drunk it, right?
We'd have been drinking it. We'd have definitely been drinking it.
Yeah, we got tasted the beer at Canberra Sands.
We'd have probably been trying to catch what people were throwing. Never mind that. So when did you first get around to seeing the Who then?
No, again, that was quite late because I was too busy fucking around, having a laugh. I mean, I had dates put in my diary, but I never actually got around to doing it. I was too much of a scatterbrain, you know. So I think the first gig that I went to weren't until 1989, which was 10 years after I got into them. So, you know, to be brutally honest, I missed out on a lot of gigs, but I think I've made up for it a little bit since then. I've done fucking hundreds since then. So, yeah, 89 was Wembley Arena, the Kids Are Right tour. Yeah, that's the first time I see him. When John Nemitzel was alive. I missed Keith Moon. I never got to see Keith, which I'm gutted about.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
And when did you actually get to meet them? When did you actually start to become familiar with them?
Okay, so familiar with them, that would have been 2006.
Right.
It took that amount of time. I mean, I wasn't looking to meet them, you know, but it just happened, you know. It's just an event that happened, building up to it, and it just happened. So yeah, 2006. So, but again, I never met John. John Nemitzel had died by then, so it was just left with Roger and Pete. But hey, listen, I'm still thankful for meeting them too. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. And was that after a gig, before a gig, during a gig?
What? That I met them?
When you first met them, yeah, to actually speak to them.
Oh yeah, when I first met them, that was in Japan. And I went over to Japan to see him, and I had a chance meeting with a guy called Irish Jack. I met him down in Soho. I was trying to bump start with Lambretta up and down Broadwick Street, and he came along and he goes, "Oh, it's a mighty fine scooter you've got there." And I thought, "Oh fuck, that's all we need." The bloody Irish drunk saying that he used to have one and it never broke down. Do you know what I mean? And then he goes, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And I went, "No." And he goes, "My name's Irish Jack." And of course, I knew who Irish Jack was, you know. So, and we became friends like ever since then. He'd just come back from the Isle of Wight festival, and I said to him, "Look, I'm going out to Japan to see Paul Weller and the Who." And he goes, "Oh well, look, ring this number and you'll get a backstage pass. So when I was out there, I phoned a number, spoke to a guy. He put me in touch with Bobby Pridden, sound engineer, and that was it. I got backstage and I met Paul Weller, I met Pete, I met Roger. That was the first time. 2 years after that I became friends with them. Yeah.
And that became quite intense, didn't it? Because eventually, I mean, you were actually introducing them on stage.
Yeah. Roger, Simon Townsend, all that went on stage, introduced all that. It was, I became sort of part of the act, if you like, you know what I mean? Because I was touring with them. I mean, I was working at the same time. I was working at the airport, but I had so much time off, different, I'd work 4 on and 4 off. Take 4 days off, you've got 12, and then you take holiday as well. So I could be off for like 2 months at a time, and I'll just go on tour with them. And then I said to Bill Kerbersley, the manager, and I think it was Roger's solo tour at the time, and I said, is it all right if I introduce Roger? And he went, do what you fucking like, mate. I went, oh, okay, so that's a yes then. Then I went up to Goldie, which is Roger's PA, and I thought I better check it with him first. And I said, look, is it all right if I introduce Roger? And he went, why? Can I ask why? And I went, well, yeah, 1, because he's been mate, and 2, I'm fucking good at it. I've been comparing for 15 years. So, and he goes, I'll ask Roger. And Roger went, yeah, all right. And then I introduced every gig that he'd done, well, wherever it was, Japan, Australia, America, New Zealand, the whole fucking lot. It become part of the act, if you like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I loved. I mean, that was like a dream come true. I mean, let's face it, the first time I met him in Japan, I had my Live at Leeds album, and I got them to sign that, and I got a photograph of Roger and Pete. And to be honest with you, if the plane crashed on the way home, I would have died happy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm glad it didn't, because it went on to bigger and better things beyond my wildest dreams. Luckiest man alive, Frank, to be honest with you, mate. Because they're my favourite band, always have been. Yeah.
Yeah. When's the last time you saw them?
What, live?
Yeah.
Well, last time I saw them, I think 2018.
Right.
Was the last time I saw them play live.
Yeah.
I still contact Roger now and again, but I've moved on. I've moved on from. I mean, the touring that I'd done was like 10 years of it. It nearly fucking killed me. I mean, before this happened, before I started touring with them, I was a party animal anyway. I always have been. I'm the first to arrive and the last to leave. You know what I mean? So I should have been dead fucking 25 years ago. And then I was touring with you, and I was partying with all the band and the liggers and the sycophants and all the rest of it. And I was getting free fucking booze, fucking sex, drugs, the fucking lot. It was great, and it just got so mental. I thought I've got to slow it down, man, because I shouldn't be here now. You know what I mean? So I slowed it all down and then moved on to the acting game. And then, of course, COVID came about and all that. I met another bird, and I don't know, things change in life, don't they, Frank? But yeah, I've done 10 years. That was enough for me.
And you've written a book, haven't you, Wolfy?
Yeah, I've written a book. I've finished it last year. It took me years and years to write.
Yeah.
I've written a book. It should have been published last year, but the thing is, I've had so much bad luck with publishers. They say yeah, and then when it comes to it, fuck all happens. But I've been in touch with this other publisher, and it looks promising. So it's all finished. It's all been proofwritten. It's all been laid out, set and designed. It's all done. So basically, I'm just waiting for the right publisher to come along, and it will be out. So I mean, it could be out in 4 weeks. It could take another bloody 3 months. But the thing is, it's done and it's ready to go. Yeah.
Well, see how you go. I mean, don't stand a free card trick for too long. I didn't have a publisher. I just self-published, and then I went on somebody else's podcast, Sean Atwood,
Right.
and he was amazed that I hadn't gone through a publisher. So when we re-released the book under a different name on Amazon, he put his name to it. He put his publishing company's name to it. So, and presumably the second book that I'm currently writing, I might well go the same route. I may well do it through Sean. You know, that's obviously for us to discuss. But I mean, as I say, if it drags on, it might be worth an introduction. You know,
Yeah.
you know whether the pair of you agree on, basically. You know, but
Yeah, well, basically, Frank, I appreciate that because at the moment I need all the help that I can get.
yeah.
I'm optimistic about this new bird that I'm talking to. She reckons she can do it,
Mm.
and there's money behind her as well. So I mean, it could work. Failing that, yeah, I'd love to go down your route. Any help would be appreciated.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I mean, well, there's a few. I mean, I think the thing is now via these podcasts.
Hmm.
You know, I've clearly met some very interesting people, and probably by now, the majority have written books.
Right. Sounds promising.
Some of them, quite a few books. I mean, Terry Ellis, Donna Siggers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They've written a few between them. And then there's been other guests, as I say, that have we've had their books. What's his name? Darren. You know, Darren Barden. He's another one who's written a book. So I think if we just ask about Wolfy, I think the help could be there. Certainly the advice could be there. You know, between the people that I've come across, and some of them you say you would know yourself. So yeah, see how we go. Get back to me. You know, get back to me, and we'll have a look at that. And clearly, if it comes about, send me a copy, and I'll put it on a future podcast interview for you. You know,
that'd be great. Thanks very much, Frank. You know, I need that.
Yeah, sure, mate. Sure. Yeah, we're always up for supporting our guests, and that's what I say. That's why we're saying we'd like some more, more subscribers. Keep the channel going, keep it growing, and we all help each other. You know, at the end of the day, we're all helping each other out in one form or another. You know.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I'll promote your channel all day long, mate. Do you know what I mean?
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I've watched your podcasts and they're great and they're really interesting. Do you know what I mean? That's why I'm honored that you chose me to be on here. I didn't think I was worthy, but there we go. Here I am.
Stop it. Well, listen, the criteria is real and inspiring people, and you're certainly real, Wolfy, that's for sure. You know, and every time I've been in your company, I've enjoyed it. That's for sure. And it is inspiring because you've got to do things that some people might only dream about. You've met people that you wanted to meet, and that should inspire people. That should inspire people to go out and live out their dreams. You know, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And I'm intrigued to read the book. I've been intrigued to read the book because interviews are good. It's nice to meet people.
Thank you.
Speak to people, listen to people. But sometimes a book is more revealing, isn't it? You know, you pour your heart out more in a book.
Yeah, you definitely do. But I think the other thing that I would like to get a message out there as well is the fact that because I come from a bit of a troubled background and I was brought up and I spent many years in the care system in a really dodgy time, in the 70s. They weren't a great time. And the thing is, I've been in touch with some of the people the kids that was in that system with me. And most of them, I would say, were either in prison, in a mental institution, or they've killed themselves, so I am one of the lucky ones. I think I'm very, very, very lucky to survive it and become this person who I am today. And, so it's quite a rags to riches story, but without the money, if you know what I mean. So I'm very grateful for that. And that's a message I would like to put out there is that don't give up hope. There's a future for everyone, regardless of your background, mate. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, in the time I've known you, you've touched on the DJing. You do the DJing. You've got aspirations to do some acting. And let's hope that now COVID's out of the way, well, pretty much out of the way, I'd like to think. that the opportunities are start to appear again, and you take full advantage of that, because you're clearly an entertainer. I've seen it with my own eyes. You know, you're clearly an actual entertainer, and I think you've just got to. I suppose we all need a lucky break, don't we? You know. I can only imagine that the people you come across, and you know, you show a lot of warmth to them people. I've seen you, you know, and I'd like to think that eventually someone's going to turn around and say, well, look, you know, you're just what we're looking for. We're just what we're looking for, and you've got a wealth of experience there for a start. Have you got a title for the book? Is there a title for the book?
Yes, there is a title for the book. The title for the book is Stroking Walls, as in walls. Stroking Walls. Do you want to know how that come about?
I'm very intrigued, I can assure you.
It's a bit of an unusual title, and I should imagine there'll only be one title like that ever. And the reason why it's called Stroking Walls, I mean, I've toured with several bands, not just The Who. You know, there's been them Hones and other bands, you know, that too many to mention. But every time that I was on tour, especially if I was in America or in Australia or whatever, I'd wake up in a different hotel room after a heavy session at the after show party, different hotel room, maybe a different time zone, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night busting for a piss, and I'd find myself in pitch black walking around stroking walls trying to find the light switch, you know. So there we go. That's all I can think of.
For those of you watching this podcast, you clearly can't see Gary from Mac the Hat Media. I could assure you we're both grinning at each other because we've had similar experiences. That's for sure. Following Tottenham throughout Europe and never quite sure where we were going to stay at different times. So yeah, that's a great name. That's a great name, and that's certainly a great bit of explanation. That's for sure. You know.
Thank you.
So what do you fancy doing now with the rest of your life, then, Wolfy? What's your aspirations now?
Well, I mean, listen, I've had a very charmed life. You know, I've travelled all over the world. There's not many places that I haven't been to. You know, so I've done so much travelling and been and seen the most amazing people and places. You know, I've done stuff that only sort of millionaires dream of, really, and I've actually done that. I've done the private jets. I've done a QE2. You know, I just missed out on Concorde, but I've done all that. So the travelling is still my main game. I love to travel. But now I think, as a 58-year-old, what I'm doing now is throwing myself into stuff that I want to do. I don't care if there's any money in it. You know, it's probably less money than when I was working, because I'm sort of retired now, to do what I want to do. So I'm throwing myself into acting, really. That's my main thing. Acting, maybe write another book, hopefully get that scripted, and maybe someone might make a film out of it. I don't know. But yeah, so acting and entertaining. I'm going to start up DJing again, do a bit of comparing for different bands, and keep traveling and entertaining people, really, making people laugh, Frank. You know what I mean? Until they will die. That's all I want to do. Yeah.
It's a great attitude, mate. It's a great attitude to have. So, and as I say, you certainly put a smile on people's faces. So the more that, the merrier, as far as I'm concerned.
See, I don't really give a fuck if they're laughing with me or at me, as long as they're laughing. You know, I don't care. You know what I mean? So, so to me, it's I get a buzz out of making people happy. Because if you remember, you know, like I said, when I was a kid, I went through so much depression. You know, I had very unhealthy thoughts in my head. You know, I didn't think there was a future for me. I didn't think that I would aspire to be anything, because my peers were telling me you'll never amount to nothing. You know, so by them saying that made me all the more intent on making a success of my life. You know, I wouldn't say I've made a success, but what I would say is I'm happy and I'm a free man and I can do what I fucking want, and I've got a story to tell. You know what I mean? So that's it.
Well, you never know. Listen, you've got the book. You know, if someone reads the book, it's all comes in stages, doesn't it? You know, I never imagined I'd write a book, and I did, and then different people have read that book, and by them reading that book, they've given me opportunities to do things never dreamt that I'd be doing, quite frankly. And you know, I'm just about to collaborate with a award-winning filmmaker, Johnny Kinch, and his Film Inc. Productions, and we're going to be doing a documentary.
Nice.
Hopefully a 3-part documentary.
Oh, good luck with it.
So I've never written the book. Well, I've never written the book. That, you know, that wouldn't have happened. You know, I'm doing talks. I'll be up in Burnley in a couple of weeks' time. Actually, some of the chaps behind the actual Casual Minds, and certainly the you know, the charity, the mental health initiative that they're starting. So again, I wouldn't have, you know, I wouldn't have known about that. I certainly wouldn't have ever dreamed of doing a podcast. Wouldn't have dreamed of doing a podcast.
There we go.
So the one book, you know, I've joined the Professional Speaking Association. So yeah, I would certainly get behind you with a book, mate. Certainly get, because that does open up so many avenues. It really does. We'll definitely have a chat about that. We will definitely have a chat about that.
No, thanks, Frank. And congratulations on you getting so far and all these doors opening for you, because you've took the time out of writing your own book, putting down your memoirs, and I think that goes a long way. So kudos due there for you, mate.
I appreciate it. And as I've said many times, and podcasts I've done with other people, I suppose there was a kind of, you don't want to be a big head, you don't want to be a show off. You think working class people don't write books, that's for the middle class, isn't it? You know, which is clearly nonsense, because so many working class people do write books now. And other people encourage me, because it's not only my story, is it? It's their story as well. You've been around people 30, 40 years, and they've said, you know, Frank, you get run over by a bus tomorrow, that's 30, 40 years of our history gone out the window as well. Yeah, so it becomes a bit of responsibility, doesn't it? So you kind of take the attention off yourself a little bit and go, well, I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing it for them. But clearly I'm benefiting. I'm definitely benefiting from it now, and I'm positive you would. I'm definitely positive, because somebody then would have some documented evidence in front of them that they could look over and make reference to time and time again, and identify what you've done. And who knows, Wolfy? You know, there's people who've written books and it's turned into plays, it's turned into documentaries, it's turned into films. So yeah, I'd certainly persist with that, mate. Certainly persist with that.
No, definitely. I mean, because I didn't realise how popular and well known you were until I spoke to an old Tottenham friend of mine, Kev O'Brien. We was old mods together back in the 80s, and we used to go to Wood Green Nightingale and all that. And when I put the picture of you bought me that wonderful gift of the little drinks thing, and I put it on Facebook, and Kev O'Brien saw it, and he went, "Fucking hell, I didn't know you knew Frank." He goes, "He was a legend in Tottenham and all that," and I thought, I didn't even know any of this, you know. So, so
you do now. As so does everyone that's read the bleeding book. I joke with people, what we all say, listen, I give up over the private life years ago, mate. So there's no good being shy now. You know, you might as well just come out and share it.
Yeah, you know it, mate. That's it.
Well, anyway, Wolfy, I'm going to love you and leave you. It's been fantastic talking to you. And obviously, I'm going to be looking forward to seeing you the next time we're on the naughty bus together. That's the second plug he's had, Mickey. So I look forward to meeting up with you there. If you could just hang around for 5 minutes afterwards and have a quick chat. I'd like to thank you very much for coming on, obviously. You've been very interesting, as I knew you would be, and entertaining. And as I say, everybody knows by now the criteria for coming on, frankly speaking, is to be real and inspiring. And you've certainly been that today, mate, and that's all we can ask for. So on that basis, want to wish you all the best. Thanks for coming along to us.
Before you go, Frank, can I just mention a couple of things?
Yeah, certainly. Cool. Yeah, it's your platform, mate. You say what you like.
Okay, so we've just finished filming a series. It's called Join the Queue, and it's by Andrew Polyviu, who's a very well-known director, and he's also won awards and stuff. So this is going to come out within the next 4 to 6 weeks, I think. Also on board with Catherine O'Reilly. She's a very famous actress and scriptwriter. She's got jumped on board as well. Join the Queue is going to be out very soon. We're currently filming the prequel to that, Snooker King, which I've got the lead role as well. So I thought I'll give that a plug. That's all coming out soon.
Yeah, great. Yep.
It's really professional. It's all coming out. Again, yeah, and if a big thank you. This is a third plug to Mickey Goldtooth. Because I love doing the naughty bus with Mickey Goldtooth. It gets me out of the place. I enjoy entertaining. He's become one of my closest friends. Him and Karen, you know, and Lee Flicker. They're like family now, you know. And I look forward to doing the entertainment on the naughty bus. So I want to thank them as well, and thank everyone.
We better finish it off. We better finish it off. So we'll give our pal, the historian Ian Mackenzie, a shout as well, and we mustn't forget Eric the driver, because if Eric never turned up, we wouldn't be getting anywhere.
No, we'd be pushing the fucking bus, wouldn't we? Yes,
we'd be banging trouble, wouldn't we, without Eric? That's for sure.
We would be in trouble, and I'm glad.
All right, mate. As I say, we just hang about for 2 minutes, and again, I thank you very much. I'll put my old glasses back on again, try to look as studious as I can. Yeah. And again, I sincerely thank our new sponsor. And you know, Casual Minds, and I'm not saying it for the sake of it. This is a really, really comfortable shirt, and have a look. Get in touch with them. They're on social media. Gary will leave a link as well if people want to have a look at their produce. But also the fact, as I say, that they're supporting this great initiative, Casual Minds Matter, and their slogan is, you know, is checking in on male mental health, and they're having a good turnout. They've got a local community centre. They're putting on all kinds of events. So say I'll be up there in a couple of weeks' time doing a talk, and we'll certainly be making a contribution to that as well. We want to thank all the subscribers, all those that watch, all those who leave comments. Again, the more that can subscribe, the better. Help us grow, let more people know that we're out there, and encourage other people to come on and share their real and inspiring stories. Again, want to mention the Alzheimer's Society and Change Your Life, Put Down Your Knife. And not forgetting my old mate here, Gary from Macnahat Media, for all the help and advice he gives me. And at the end of the day, produces this and puts it on YouTube. Once again, Wolfy, great speaking to you, mate. Thanks for coming on and sharing your experiences. It's been fascinating. All the best, mate. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Gary. All the best, mate.